You talked about the presidential race, the other big race in Texas. We talked about it already this morning. Our Senate seat, voters giving incumbent Ted Cruz a third term over North Texas Congressman Colin Allred.
Teresa Woodard is in Houston with the Cruz campaign. Good morning, Teresa. It was a night of celebration down there.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Senator Ted Cruz's hometown. It is also the town where last night he declared not just victory, but a total mandate.
The results tonight, this decisive victory, should shake the Democrat establishment to its core. And I want to say to all of those who didn't support me, you have my word that I will fight for you, for your jobs, for your safety, and for your constitutional rights.
So just a little bit of an olive branch for Texans who voted against him. He said something similar in his 2018 victory speech, but this time that margin of victory much wider. It is a much more decisive win. Cruz's challenger, Colin Allred, conceded, called Cruz, and said this to his supporters last night back home in Dallas.
And so I don't want to see anybody putting their heads down. I want you to put your shoulders back and your head up and walk out of here tall that you participated in an American election. That's what we do. Because in this country, we don't settle our differences in the streets. We don't settle it with violence. We settle it at the ballot box. And if we don't win, then we dust ourselves off and we come back the next time.
Now, this victory, of course, sends Ted Cruz back to D.C. until the year 2030, but you have to also think it might set him up for a presidential run before that. I am well aware that the morning after a re-election is a little too early to start talking about 4 years from now, but in the world we live in now, in American politics, the next campaign starts this morning. We'll send it back to you.
It does feel like we're in a constant political cycle. I didn't know if that was just me, but yes, It does. Thanks, Teresa. Jason back with us right now to talk about that Senate race. Specifically, we're looking at the issues because both candidates were leaning into very different issues.
Yeah, and indeed so. You know, we saw nationally that Democrats were running for the last 6 to 8 years on, running against Donald Trump. That was their main issue. But then secondly, in Texas and then with Kamala Harris as well, they were talking about abortion the whole time. That was one of their big issues. Clearly, it had polled within their base, and people thought that might be a big deal, that abortion might be a big deal. At the end of the day, that wasn't a big deal at all. Voters did not vote on abortion. What did they vote on? Maybe the economy. It seems like that, though we're not really sure just yet.
Watching Colin Allred's performance in the debate that you moderated here in the studio, and then also seeing some of his campaign ads lately, it did feel a little bit like when he attacked Ted Cruz, it didn't quite have the same oomph. And then a lot of his ads recently, he was on the defensive. He was having to address the idea of boys playing girls' sports, and it felt like, hey, you're just kind of playing into the hands. Was there a mistake on his part to not focus on more direct attacks, or do you think this was ever a winnable race for him?
Yeah, no, that's what people are going to go back this morning and start looking at. Was this a brand problem? Was it a messaging problem? What was this? I think, when Cleo comes back up on the maps over here, I want you to look at one specific thing for the Texas Senate race. South Texas, Laredo, Brownsville, McAllen, Harlingen, those areas have traditionally been blue. Donald Trump flipped the entire border counties. And if you look at the Senate race, Ted Cruz barely lost them. Colin Allred was able to hang on to them. Clearly, there's a messaging problem that Democrats have to address here. To lose a vital part of their stronghold here is going to be a problem. One of many problems that Texas Democrats have waking up this morning.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jason. We'll talk to you again here shortly.
All right.
And we'll have a special hour of Daybreak, by the way, coming your way at 7 a.m. so we can bring you even more of the results and analysis. You can watch that for free on our streaming app, WFAA+. You can find that on most smart TVs, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV as well.
Well, still the